In 2026, Maya finally has enough for the down payment. Stable job, good credit, a number in her savings account she spent 8 years building. Everything the old advice told her to chase. So when she signs for a $400,000 house next month, she will feel like she is winning. She will actually be making one of the most expensive financial mistakes of her life, and the math behind why is something almost no one runs before they sign. So let's run it with her. Start with the number everyone fixates on, the price. Maya's house costs about what the median American home costs today. But the price is not what she is buying. What she is actually buying is the loan. And the loan in 2026 is a completely different animal than the one her parents took. When her parents bought, a 30-year mortgage cost around 3%. Maya's costs closer to 7%. That gap sounds small. It is not. On a $400,000 loan, it more than doubles the monthly payment. And over 30 years, it adds hundreds of thousands of dollars in pure interest, money that does not build her any equity at all. So the same house her parents could afford on one income now eats more than a third of Maya's. And here is where the trap tightens. Because in the early years of a mortgage, almost nothing you pay actually buys the house. In year one, the overwhelming majority of Maya's payment goes to interest, taxes, and insurance. Money that vanishes exactly like rent, except larger. She will feel like an owner. But on the balance sheet, for the first several years, she is renting the money from a bank at 7% and renting the land from the county in taxes. The equity everyone promised her barely moves. So the obvious question is she at least beating rent? That is the whole reason to buy, right? Run Maya's actual monthly numbers, and the answer in 2026 is brutal. Once you add the 7% interest, the property tax, the insurance, and the maintenance every homeowner underestimates, roughly 1 to 2% of the home's value every single year, owning her house costs noticeably more per month than renting the exact same house down the street. The gap between owning and renting has not been this wide in decades. And the monthly gap is only the part Maya can see. The house comes with a second, invisible mortgage. The roof that needs replacing, the water heater that dies in February, the dues that keep rising, the repair nobody warned her about. A renter's worst maintenance year is a phone call to the landlord. Maya's worst year can erase a decade of the equity she was so proud of building. Owning is not just a payment. It is a series of surprises you are now responsible for. Picture the day Maya gets the keys. It feels like the finish line. But that is the exact moment a second, quieter clock starts ticking against her. Every month, before she builds a single dollar of real equity, the bank takes its 7%, the county takes its taxes, the insurer takes its premium, and the house itself starts billing her for its own upkeep. Her renter friend, in the identical house next door, writes one check and is done. Maya writes one check and then waits for the next thing to break. And the cruelest part is the down payment. The money she spent 8 years saving is now frozen inside 4 walls, where it earns her nothing until she sells. And selling means handing 6% to an agent and praying the market is up the week she needs to move. That money used to be hers, liquid, ready for any opportunity. Now it is a brick in a wall. People call a house an asset, and over decades held patiently it can be. But in Maya's first years, at these rates, it behaves far more like a very large, very illiquid bill that she is emotionally attached to. And that is the question almost no one stops to ask before they sign. Not can I afford the down payment, but what is that down payment costing me everywhere else in my life? Because money locked in a house cannot be invested, cannot be moved, cannot catch the next opportunity. It just sits there, hoping the price goes up. So Maya could take that difference, the few $100s a month that owning costs over renting, and do something her house cannot do for years. Invest it. And this is the part that breaks the whole renting is throwing money away idea. Rent is not throwing money away any more than mortgage interest is. They are both just the cost of having a roof. The real question was never rent versus own. It is where the money you do not spend actually goes, and how fast it grows. Because remember what that difference can become. The few hundred a month, plus the tens of thousands she was about to bury in a down payment, invested in a broad index instead, compounds quietly in the background. Liquid, portable, and historically growing faster than home prices over the long run. Her house would have locked that money behind 6% selling fees and a market she cannot time. Her portfolio keeps it working and within reach. And that points to the real trap. A house ties Maya to one city, one job market, one giant asset she cannot sell in a week. If a better job opens up 2 states away, the renter packs a box. Maya pays 6% in agent fees, plus closing costs, plus months of uncertainty, just to leave. The thing that was supposed to be her freedom becomes the reason she cannot move. Freedom and a 30-year loan rarely live in the same house. And if home prices simply flatten for a few years, which after their run-up is far from impossible, she has spent all that interest to own an asset that did not even grow. Now this is not never buy a house. A home you will hold for 10 years or more, bought when the math works, in a place you want to root, is one of the great wealth builders in history. Precisely because a fixed mortgage lets inflation quietly shrink your debt while the rents around you keep rising. The mistake is not owning. The mistake is buying in 2026 because you feel like you are supposed to, at a 7% rate, on a timeline of 3 or 4 years, telling yourself, rent is the enemy. So here is what Maya should actually do before she signs. First, find her break-even, the number of years she would have to stay for buying to beat renting after every cost. At today's rates, that number has stretched to many years, not the 2 or 3 people assume. If she is not certain she will stay past it, renting wins outright. Run that one calculation honestly, and most of the pressure to buy right now simply disappears. Second, take the monthly difference and the down payment she was about to lock into the walls and put them to work in assets that compound, so her money grows whether or not the housing market does. Third, treat a house as a lifestyle she can afford, not an investment she is afraid to miss. Because the version of Maya who rents for now, invests the difference, and stays free to chase the next opportunity, is not falling behind. In 2026, she is the one quietly winning. The house was never the finish line everyone told her it was. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do with a door is wait before you walk through it. If running the real numbers just changed how you see the biggest purchase of your life, subscribe. Every week we run the math nobody runs before they sign. This is educational, not financial advice. Do the math before the mortgage.